Yes, sir. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I,
Yeah,
Sumant
good
and
afternoon.
Abhishek, are teammates for this presentation, and we represent the batch C11. And we have been given the topic HEVs for military applications. Following these are the topics that we are going to be covering during this presentation. And starting with the first one, the general discussion. Uh, Implementing HEV technology in military vehicles has a wide range of benefits and advantages. With increased amount of electric power, it shows the immediate demand for more electric power on board for military vehicles. And technically speaking, there are some challenges related to components in a hybrid electric drivetrain that and the overall vehicle design that we have to face. This application has a huge advantage for future military vehicles. For example, we can just take a US FCS program. When we compare a legacy military vehicle, that means an old military vehicle to a military HEV, a hybrid vehicle, it is more complex and it has increasingly multidisciplinary system. HEVs with benefits and its applications. There are several motivations, both direct and indirect, for HEVs for military applications. But most important is being the cost of fuel. Transporting fuel to the field through risky route and over long distance can be raised. The cost of fuel is significantly. And the second one is the quiet nature of the hybrid vehicles, which I will be explaining in the next slide. And coming to the next point, it when many HEVs are properly connected and interfaced, this can be achieved, which gives us the possibility to create a utility level voltage to run various items of stationary equipment. This can be achieved by using HEV battery. This kind of utilization of vehicles for power generation can help significantly in sense that can reduce the need for availability of power units and thus saving cost of weight and these vehicles and transporting to the field. Potential payoffs. Uh, we coming to the potential payoffs of the military hybrid vehicles. We already know how the fuel efficiency is a great advantage by using HEVs in military applications. Noiseless work. Quiet watch is necessity in army because in some missions, such situations, the motor has to be turned off. With the help of these HEVs, we can significantly increase the success rate of such missions. Locally available power. Benefits of having such crossbred innovation defines purpose that it has a capability to produce electricity by themselves with the help of motor generator. Sets this advantage, HEV can stand continuously for a longer period during wars. Ground applications. Coming to the ground applications, military vehicles are no different when compared to commercial vehicles when it is compared with the such architectures. Based on studies, from the point of weight, diesel engines that are IC engines are lighter than parallel HEV, and series vehicles, HEV hybrid vehicles, are more a bit heavier than the parallel HEVs. By this, we can say that size of electric motor of parallel HEV is less than that of the size of that in a series hybrid electric vehicle. The question that addresses is to choose the type of architecture in military, whether it should be a parallel, series, or complex. It all weighs down to fuel. It all comes down to the question whether it has to be fuel economic, weight or size of the vehicle, or reliability. When it comes to fuel economy, we can just go with a parallel hybrid vehicle, and the size of the weight and size of weight of the vehicle, we again go through parallel hybrid vehicle because we already know that SHEV series hybrid vehicle is a bit heavier than parallel hybrid vehicle. And in case of performance, if we consider it as the utmost concern, a series hybrid vehicle provides high power on demand. And coming to the merits and demerits, parallel HEV is more complex than series hybrid vehicle, and maintaining a parallel hybrid vehicle is another issue because it takes a lot of effort to maintain such vehicles, whereas SHEV is more simpler when compared to parallel HEVs, and when also when compared with another factor, it's a mechanical linkage. Unlike a parallel HEV, SHEV is also very simple. So next, it will be continued by Mr. Abhishek.
Okay,
It was a
vehicles.
properly explained thing from Sumant, but we could have, if we could get you your video, that would have been better. So now Abhishek will be talking about the benefits of the related topic. So yeah, Abhishek, please carry on.
Yeah, sir, thank you. Vehicles that are of most benefit. There are many different vehicles of military vehicles. The drive cycles and the needs are quite different. Some vehicles run for long distances, some are compact vehicles with extremely high power demand and performance needs, while others are unmanned robotic vehicles where long term mission and survivability can be more important than fuel economy. Some have weapons mounted, some do not. Based on these needs, the vehicular architecture could be significantly different. So, in order to estimate the benefits of hybridization of military vehicles, some kind of metric, should be established.
Sumant, please mute your audio.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please continue.
So, a possible systematic way to do this analysis is suggested down here, based on the itemized information noted. Suman, the slide. Next slide.
Please make it full screen. Yeah. Next. Next.
Next.
Correct.
So there's a estimating the benefits. So the number of vehicles deployed N, cost of the vehicle initially, C, average fuel economy of the vehicle, power rating of the vehicle P, miles of the vehicle travels in its life cycle denoted by M, whether it is a compact vehicle or a support vehicle on scale of 1, that's minimal combat and primary support, to 10, that's highly compact K. How the vehicle is transported in the field on scale of 1, that's by itself, through ship transport 5, to air transport 10 T. Ease of maintenance on scale of 1 minimal to extremely important E. How important is survivability in its terms of failure on a scale of 1 minimal to 10 extremely important, denoted as S. Long-term sustainability in terms of mission without any refueling or other intervention from outside on a scale of 1. Easily refuel, that's fuel is easily available and refuel it. To 10, deployed and not able to refuel, extremely, example, an unmanned robot queue. Additional cost of hybridization, denoted H. Loss or gain of reliability if hybridized compared to the base vehicle on a scale of 0 to 1. High is a gain is equal to 1. Low gain is nothing but 0, denoted R. Since these quantities are in different units, some are dimensionless and their range can also be numerically very different. It is beneficial to normalize them in some way to bring them within a comparable and manageable range. All these quantities can possibly be normalized except the number of vehicles, since it simply indicates the total benefit. In addition to using normalization, it is instructive to include a weighting factor for each of the criteria. Well, all these ideas are incorporated to this tabular column uh, for the ease of comprehension and with some placeholder numerical values for purpose of illustration. So now going on with the tabular column. So the first criteria is the number of vehicles N, and its normalization factor is 1 and the weighting factor is 1, which means the criteria is least important. So next is initial cost per vehicle, denoted by C. Normalization factor is 5 lakh. Weighting phase factor is 6, which means that this criteria is pretty important because cost of vehicle can give good idea of a performance, can give good idea of performance of vehicle, because higher the cost of vehicle, then which might include additional features and better quality. So next is miles per gallon, denoted as small f, and its normalization factor is 8, and its weighting factor is 7, which indicates this criteria is important because higher the miles per gallon, more it is good. Next is power rating. denoted by P. Normalization factor is 300 kilowatt and its weighting factor is 5, which indicates criteria is neutral. Next is miles in life cycle, denoted by capital M. Its normalization factor is defined based on the type of vehicle and weighting factor is 5. This indicates criteria is neutral, as good vehicle can cover more miles in life cycle compared to a bad condition vehicle. Next is vehicle type of vehicle, denoted by capital K. Normalization factor is 5. Its weighting factor is 5, and this criteria is given neutral, as a vehicle can be of any type like compact or support. So all the vehicles are sum of use. Next is transportability, denoted by capital T. Its normalization factor is 5. Its weighting factor is 5. Here T means how the vehicle is transported to field. Normalization factor can be 1 if it's transported by itself, or it can be 5 if it's transported by ship, or it can be 10 if it's transported by air. And here in the tabular column, it is 5, which means it's transported via ship to the field. So the next is ease of maintenance. Ease of maintenance, denoted by capital E. Its normalization factor is 5. Its weighting factor is 7. Its normalization factor is a value on the scale of 1 to 10. That's minimal maintenance to extremely important maintenance. Next is survivability, denoted by S. Normalization factor is 5, weighting factor 8, which defines how important its survivability is in terms of failure on scale of 1 to 10, in which minimal to extremely important in this tabular column. So the next is the long-term survivability without refueling, denoted by Q. It is measured on the scale of 1 to 10, that is easily refueled, and to the rating of 10 means deployed and not able to be refueled externally. So in tabular column, normalization factor is 5 and weighting factor 6. Next is the hybridization. Here it's normalization factor is 20,000 and weighting factor is 2. This criteria is not so important because cost of hybridization should not matter. Next is gain in reliability due to hybridization, denoted by R. This measure is on a scale of 0 to 1, in which 1 indicates high gain and 0 indicates loss. In tabular column, it is 0.5 and weighting factor is 0.8, which indicates criteria is most important because the vehicle should be reliable. Though this concept is introduced for military vehicles, the metric could be equally important for application regular commercial civilian vehicle. Thank you.
Okay, it's a good table that you have explained, and we find that the gain and reliability due to hybridization is the most important factor for military. So whenever we are using military or satellite-based application, at that time, reliability is at the front seat. So performance and performance reliability. So it is not only performance but reliability at any kind of situation. That is the main thing in case of any military or satellite-based application. Anyway, so a good kind of presentation you people have given. So Abhishek is from Division A, Sumant is from Division C. They had team together. So a good presentation on military vehicles and reliability trade-off related